Alright, hey, what's up guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. Alright, today I'm going to do a video from a comment from one of our subscribers, Andrew Bender. Asked me a question about how to build a playbook and terminology to keep things simple, but also carry all the nuances or the multiplicity you want to have to be able to attack the things you need to attack. So we're going to take a look at some of the things I've done in the past on creating a playbook with some terminology that you make your own. All right, make sure you check out some of our partners, Dome Hats, headwear company I use. This is one of my Rydell hats from Dome. All right, Snapback. It's completely customizable. That's what makes it a great product. You can go online to their online hat builder. You can generate and build your own hat with your logo. Change the style of the hat, snapback, Velcro, fitted, all the things that you want to do to make your hat customized with your logo. You can put some, different embroidery, or you can put your slogans, team mottos, whatever you can put it. I've got it on the back of one of my Velcro hats. You can put it on the side. So it's completely customizable. Every hat has a story. Make sure you check out Dome Hats to help you tell your hat story. Baker Sporting Goods, all right, company I use. Shirts like this for coaches, our players, spirit packs, our uniforms are distributed from Baker Sporting Goods. Right now they've got a sale going on their website that you really need to check out, with a lot of great apparel on there on sale. Anytime we open up a team store, we do it through Baker Sporting Goods. So make sure you check them out. Just Play Football, which is the play drawing tool that I use, but it's also more than a play drawing tool. It's more than a playbook tool. It's a powerful presentation. It's a way to bring more information to your players in your program on game plans and your playbook, and you can set up quizzes so you can understand what they know about your game plans, what they know about your playbook. So I highly recommend Just Play, not only as a play drawing tool and a playbook, but as a way to use digital software and take your program to the next level. GameStrat sideline replay system we use. All right, if you're looking for a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, make sure you check out GameStrat. All right, customer friendly, great guys. They really want to help coaches, especially high school coaches, in the replay system world. Their stuff is excellent. We've never had any issues with it. It's always been user error on our part, so make sure you check out GameStrat. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. Elbows in, thumbs up. You can change the coils to change the tension as the kids get older, stronger, better at striking. You can use it in the off season. You can attach it to your squat racks in the weight room. You can bring them on the field and attach them to either 2x4s that you put in the ground, or find a way to put them onto the field so you can use them on the field. So it's a great way to develop striking on and off the field and during the season and the off season. So check out DifferenceUSA HighandTight ball security training aid that we use. It's got, the ball itself is a training tool that has sensors inside of each panel. So you have to hold the ball a certain way, all right, with the proper points of pressure. You have to hold the ball in a way that it is, all right, secured high and tight. When you do that, you will hear an auditory beep. As soon as you hear that beep, you know that you got the ball where it needs. You know that you got the wrist locked in, the wrist above the elbow. All right, you've got the elbow tight to the rib cage. You've got all the points of pressure you need. If you do not do that, all right, if you get the wrist down lower, the elbow goes out, you don't have the proper points of pressure, you will not hear the beep, so you're holding the ball incorrectly. You can do it in all your everyday drills. Kids get used to it, muscle memory, get that ball where it is. I hear that beep, boom, I know that's where it needs to be. I do my drills with the ball in that position. If I move that position at all and I lose the beep, I know that I'm doing something wrong. So check out HighandTight. You hear us getting better. StandPerfect training aid we started using to teach stances. It can be used for multiple sports. It can be used for a lot of different things. We use it right now to teach stances to receivers, DBs, linemen. But we also use it for our splits and spacing when we're doing drills, like our half-line coverage drill, when we need to line up a receiver at number 1, at number 2, a tailback, a quarterback. We put them in the ground so those guys know, every scout player knows when they go back and they get their routes from a card. Number 1 knows where to go, puts his feet in, he's got it already in a stance. Number 2 knows where to go. We keep the same distance if we need to change the splits. If we're ever working on bunch sets or tighter splits, instead of having to explain to that scout group exactly where they need to be, move in, move out, go to the numbers, go to the hash, beyond the hash, you just put the StandPerfects down. They can work on getting in a consistent stance, and you know you've got the proper spacing that you need. Check out StandPerfect at StandPerfect.com. Baseball, softball, golf, a lot of great ways to use it, so make sure you check that out. All right, so Andrew wanted to talk a little bit about creating terminology in a playbook on offense or defense that is simple, but is still able to have all the nuances you need to attack. So I'm going to talk a little bit about something I did probably about 11, 12 years ago. We were making a switch and we were going more shotgun read orientated run game stuff and running a lot of gap schemes. And so I created a system that was purely built on my terminology that I basically came up with myself. And you know, the tough thing about football that you hear a lot of people complain about or talk about on social media is there is no one true set of vocabulary for football. So people can be arguing about the same point using different terminology, and they may both be arguing the same thing, but the terminology is different. What I call one thing, you might call something different. You know, you think about coverages on defense, and you think about guys that, you know, somebody calls it two read, somebody calls it palms, somebody calls it blue, you know, whatever it may be. Different, whether it's blitzes, fronts, you know, somebody's one technique is somebody else's too high or things like that, and that makes the game a little bit difficult, but it also makes it fun because you get a chance to build terminology into your program as a coach, as a teacher. You build a vocabulary the way you want to build it, and then you teach it to your program. So you teach it to your coaches, you teach it to your players, and then once you have that language, that vocabulary built within your program, it becomes yours. You own it. All right, and you teach it, and you make the kids understand it, and then it comes down to how good can you teach it, how much can you, you know, how main or not streamlined can you keep it, how simplified can you keep it, and then it becomes a matter of getting your kids to understand it, being a good teacher, whether it's word association, whatever you do. But the thing to keep in mind is, you know, terminology is what we use, especially with play calling in a playbook. It's what we use to teach certain things and install certain things. But in today's day and age, with a lot of no-huddle teams and a lot of up-tempo teams, after you teach the terminology, the play becomes a hand signal. So there's really two ways the kids are learning to play. They're learning the terminology first. So that's why I think people always try and word associate things. All right, but then they also have to learn different signals for what the plays are, whatever they may be. You know, kind of like a third base coach in baseball. And what ends up happening is they're learning terminology and they're also learning signals. All right, so sometimes I try to explain to people, don't get so carried away with your terminology, because at the end of the day, once you get into games, it's going to become signaled in with hand signals, and it's going to become another language, so to speak, because it's going to go from verbal to nonverbal communication. So the kids are going to have to learn it two ways. So the easiest way to think about this is if you remember the old John Gruden, all right, the book, Do You Love Football? And, you know, it had the argument. He's done this on his, when he was out of coaching for a little while and doing quarterback stuff before the draft. He's talked about this before. And so he had the old play, hey, let's go flip right, double X, jet, 36 counter, naked waggle at 7X quarter. And he would ask quarterbacks, you know, coming out of college, he did it with Cam Newton, he did it with a couple other guys. He'd ask them and he'd say, hey, man, give me that play coming out of the huddle. And they would struggle with it a little bit, and they'd say, hey, coach, you know, our terminology's not like that. And he would say, okay, well, give me your wordiest call, or give me your terminology. And that's when he started getting into and studying the modern or the newer era of football in the last 20 years, or whatever you want to go back to, of simplifying things down into less verbiage, all right, to get the same message across. Now, in the NFL, you got to remember they're playing, quarterbacks have the earpiece in their ear, so, you know, they've got these massive wristbands with things on them, but they also have things in their ear where you could be saying every word to the quarterback. So in the NFL, they almost want to communicate with just about every player on the field. So they might have, you know, the protection, and they might have the run action, and they might have a route for almost every player on the field that they're communicating. So those calls like that, flip right, double X, jet, 36 counter, naked waggle at 7X quarter, you know, those are NFL type deals, and I think it's easier for them, obviously, with the amount of time and coaches and players and things that they have with their guys at the highest level, but it's also easier with a quarterback with an earpiece in. But even those guys have found that you could probably streamline some of that down into more simplified terms, okay? So everybody remembers that. I always got a kick out of that. I still remember it to this day after reading his book. All right, I can almost, without looking at it anymore, can kind of call that at will, that play at will. All right, but what we did about 11, 12 years ago is I came up with an offensive system where we played strong side lineman and weak side lineman, and we flipped them. And it's been done before. It's not something that I created. And I know it's different than you would see probably in college and the NFL because they're trying to find left tackles or right tackles to protect a left-handed or a right-handed quarterback in the passing game. But also, you know, one of the things that it has gotten down to is a way to try and streamline things to make it simpler. So what we did was we created a system. I created a system where I had strong side and weak side linemen. So the formations would change, all right, if I called even right or even left, if I called spread right or spread left, if I called trips right or trips left. The formations would change right or left, and the strong side players would go to the call and the weak side players would go away. So the first thing that allowed me to do was in our gap scheme stuff, what I determined was we were only going to run power to the strong side of the formation. And what that was going to allow me to do is that was going to allow me to always have the strong side lineman working on the down gap stuff. Always have the backside weak guard as the skip puller, okay? And the power play was always going to go strong. So people would say, well, you always run power to the right. No, just for me being right-handed, when I diagram things, I usually diagram them to the right, all right? I'm right-handed, I'm right-eye dominant. It's just the way my brain kind of thinks. But I could flip the formation and run the same play the other way. So what that allowed us to do in the gap roll, for argument's sake, when we get back to the topic of the discussion, streamlining and making your communication simple. All P words were power plays. Okay, so we try to use cities and colleges. All right, sometimes we get into colors, we get into animals. Okay, but bottom line was anything that started with a P was a power play. As soon as the old lineman, all right, heard any word with a P or any hand signal, it would become hand signals eventually, but on the install, in the playbook, any word with a P was a power play. They knew they had to block power up front. Now, we had several nuances behind them going on to change how we ran the power play, okay? But the offensive line knew that it was a power play. So if we call Purdue, all right, that was jet power read. So that was jet motion by our H-back, and it was power read with the jet motion player and the quarterback. So the skill players knew that we were running power read. The H knew that he was the motion guy, and our linemen up front knew that they had to block power. Okay, if we call Philadelphia, that was our way of running quarterback power off the jet fake with no read. All right, so now when we call Philadelphia, the lineman knew the block power, okay, the H knew to go in jet, but the quarterback knew that he wasn't going to ride and read on the front side. He was going to fake the jet, run quarterback power. Now the tailback or the sniffer that's in the game, on Purdue, he arc released to the perimeter because we read the end, all right, but on Philadelphia, he had to kick the end. All right, so that terminology, the O-line knew that it was power. Everybody knew the play was going strong, but we had different wrinkles of how we wanted to run things. Penn State might have been a two-back scenario, all right, where, you know, maybe we would get in, so just to kind of show you a little bit, if I were to say spread left strong, for me in my terminology, all right, spread left strong for us would be a two-back set, so the Z and the Y would go to the call, the X would go away, all right, and then strong talk to the in two-back, that becomes the H. Strong told the H-back to go strong side. It was a split-back set that told the tailback to go to the weak side. Okay, so this was our strong tackle, strong guard, weak tackle. So now, when I call Penn State, that was kind of like a bash power read or a back-away sweep or not as much bash. It's really the same side, so you can't really label it as bash in my opinion because it's not back away. The back is going the same side. I think some people call it dash or flash or whatever. I never really got into that. It's power read for me. It's just power read with a tailback. So now the front side would be down gap. The center would be back. There would be your skip pull. All right. And now we would arc release because we were reading. And now the tailback would be in front. And instead of running jet power read, we're now running tailback power read. So Penn State would be the tailback version of power read. Okay. And then Portland might be the toss version of power read. So I might say spread left near. Okay, so now near tells the H to stay in the strong position. All right, strong and near are the same thing for the H, but now the T goes near to the strength. So now the T lines up and we end up in kind of that stack look to the same side. And now we'd run the same version of power read, but it would be with a shuffle toss read. So the quarterback would shuffle, the tailback would drop, all right, crossover run, and get as wide as he could. And now we're running toss power read. And we're calling it Portland. Okay, so now all of a sudden we had Purdue, jet power read. Philadelphia, quarterback power. Penn State, tailback power read. Portland, power toss read. All right, and then when we got into the RPO world, All right, again, now I'll just change this up and draw it to the right again. So maybe I would say, hey, spread right near. Let's go spread right near. All right, so let's put the H there on the near side. Let's put the tailback there on the near side. So this is strong tackle, strong guard, weak tackle. The X is over here, Y and the Z there. And now when we want to RPO off the power, let's call Pittsburgh and just add one tag. So let's call Pittsburgh fist. All right, and let's run some type of stick route with a post behind it or a glance behind it. And now go ahead and run the power play, block back, skip, pull. H has to kick now because it's an RPO. We're not reading the first level DN, we're reading the second level. Tailback downhill in the A gap, front side for power. And now we'll RPO some type of overhang sitting out there. So now we had another P word, Pittsburgh was built in, and that was how we would throw RPOs. It was true tailback power. We had to kick somebody. So within the power world, we knew that the power always went strong, and we knew that we had several different ways to run the power play. All right, we could run it as a jet read. We could run it as a quarterback power. We could run it as tailback read, toss read, RPO the power. We could do it several different ways just by building the terminology around that. Okay, now within the passing game, one of the things we like to do is I like to have different terminology for the protection that also married to the drop of the quarterback. All right, so in our quick game, we would say Rip Liz. All right, and Rip Liz told us it was quick game, so it told the O-lineman the protection, how we wanted to block quick game. Okay, they told the quarterback in the shotgun that was punch one. All right, the old three-step drop from under the center, quick game mechanics. And then it also, within our combinations, because we weren't mirrored with our combinations, it told the front side receivers what to run and the back side receivers what to run. So if we were running hitches on the front side and slants on the back side, let's say for argument's sake, I might just get up and say, hey, Hawaii Rip. Hitches on the right, Rip protection, Rip tells the quarterback punch one. We'd go to drop back and we would use red black. Okay? So red black would now tell the quarterback that that's punch three, the old-fashioned five-step, all right, drop. Could be hitch and hold, it could be five-step, get rid of it, depending on what the combination was. Okay? And then the offensive lineman knew that that was half slide. Okay? And then the receivers knew front side of the concept, back side of the concept. So if we were running three-man snag, okay, we might say Saints red, all right, or red Saints. All right, so red tells the quarterback what the drop is. Red tells the O-line what the protection is. Red tells the receivers that the right side is the front side, and the front side's running three-man snag, and the back side is running whatever their complement is. Okay, so two words, Saints red, done. All right, formation, whatever it is, Saints red, the play call is done. Everybody knows what they got. If we build tags off of that, it might be, hey, Saints red shake, Saints red wheel, Saints red spot, Saints red levels, whatever the tags were, and now we can do that in just three simple words. So it was direction, it was protection, it was quarterback drop, and then we'd sprint out, and we might use like river and lake. So now river and lake, all right, river is sprint out right, tells the O-line how to protect, it tells the quarterback we want him sprinting out, tells him we want him sprinting out to the right. So we would have whatever the combination was, you know, if we were running flood on one side or whatever, all right, it might be, hey, Florida River, all right, or River Florida. Okay, if we were running it to the other side, it might be Florida Lake or Lake Florida. All right, so it told us sprint out mechanics for the quarterback. It gave us the direction that the quarterback was going. It gave us the direction for the front side of the receivers to run the flood play. But it also told the O-lineman how we wanted to protect. They now knew, all right, that it was sprint out protection. So it was Rip Liz, Red Black, River Lake. Very simple things like that. Okay, we've also used R and Ls in our run game at times. So power plays always went strong for us. But we had certain plays like heavy blast plays, okay, or our version of the veer read play or the Zier play, where we would build those into R's and L's. So Bronco, bull. All right, Bronco, blast right, bull, blast left. Okay, then we build waggles in. Washington and Wyoming. Washington was waggled to the H side, Wyoming was waggled to the Y side. All right, so we were using word association. We were building things in that were becoming simplistic and streamlined. All right, and we were trying to get it in a manner where not only could we play faster, but we could play with less thoughts from the kids. All right, less verbiage, less vocabulary, less signals, less thoughts from the kids. Now, what happened is a lot of those theories get kind of locked in, where the only way you could change them or wrinkle them is with some tags here or there. So we didn't have the ability to call almost anything we wanted out of any set and change If we had Washington and Wyoming, we ran those at a certain sets. We ran those waggles a certain way depending on where the formation was set. All right, and those kids knew. All right, what I normally did waggle-wise was I tied it to certain formations in our tempo game so that Washington always went right, Wyoming always went left. I tried not to switch those up. I tried to make it waggle away from the H, waggle away from the Y. We got to a point where we tried to see if the kids could understand formationally which way the waggle was going. All right, but at the same time, originally when we did it, we had waggles built into certain formations, certain packages, all right, so that I was only going to run 4 to 5 or 3 to 5 waggles a game, depending on the type of game. I think the most, maybe I ran 6 waggles in a game one time, I don't know, but I didn't have to get real multiple with how I called the waggle system because I was only calling 5 or 6 of them a game. Okay, so that's how we built our offense, to keep it streamlined, simplistic. All right, play a little bit faster, play clearer of clearer mind. Again, you know, flip right, double X jet, 36 counter naked waggle, that's 7X quarter. I don't know if that's something you want to be teaching to high school kids. All right, but getting up there and saying, hey, even right Purdue, I think we can accomplish what we need to accomplish. Get the plays to be multiple, attack where we want to attack, have answers. All right, that's power to the right. Now I want to go power left. Hey, even left, Philadelphia. All right, whatever we needed to do. We could build in RPOs, Pittsburgh instead of Portland or Penn State or Philadelphia or Purdue. We could now say Pittsburgh and tag an RPO. We could build in right and left calls, Bronco, Bull. All right, if you were an inside zone team, and we used to run inside zone, Zorro, Zulu, zone right, zone left. All right, kind of like Noah Mazzone used to call some of his stuff. Instead of saying, you know, running inside zone and saying Indiana North, Indiana South, Hoosiers North, Hoosiers South, Hoosiers East, Hoosiers West, Indiana up, Indiana down, Indiana boy, Indiana girl. We avoided all that and we just said, hey, Zorro Zulu. Okay, and for us, we never verbalized anything with the quarterback, so we didn't have to worry so much about having multiple ways to call plays because we made all of our linemen, we made all 11 players get the signal from the sideline. So everybody had to understand when we signaled in Zorro, all right, I think like Coach Mazzone used to, you know, Zorro was something like that, right? So when we signaled in Zorro, zone right, the quarterback never came up and said, hey, Zorro, Zorro, Zorro. If that's your system, you're going to have multiple ways to call inside zone to the right because you don't want to come up and say Zorro every play or Zulu every play. So that's why you would come up with different ways to say, hey, Indiana, Iowa, those are all inside zone, but if I used a mascot, all right, we could also call it Hawkeyes or Hoosiers. We're using Indiana, Iowa, Hawkeye, Hoosier, north, south, up, down, east, west, boy, girl. That's how we're calling the play in the direction because we want to change those words so that the opponent doesn't get locked into what we're doing. We use hand signals, so the only thing we got to worry about is live, dead, changing hand signals because other coaches will attempt to get your signals, and if they can get your signal and get it into their kids, obviously you're always trying to avoid that. But the verbiage never had to change for us. The vocabulary never had to change because we didn't say it out loud to our players. They were all hand signals. All right, so we had a hand signal for Purdue and Philadelphia and Penn State and Portland and Pittsburgh and Rip and Liz and Red and Black and River and Lake. So that might be the hardest part of the whole deal is once you come up with the terminology, you got to come up with a nonverbal system of communicating. So that's why you see guys with boards and crazy signals and one guy in a green vest and a pink hat and a blue hat and a yellow hat and all that other stuff. You know, that's up to you as a coach how you want to do it, how expensive or you want to get with you know, your signaling system. But as far as the verbiage is concerned, make it your own. Make it simple. Find a way to build it into your offense. This verbiage vocabulary was taken from nothing that anybody else was doing. All the plays were borrowed from somebody. So every clinic I had ever gone to, every film I had ever watched, all the plays and the schemes were borrowed from somebody. I didn't create any of the stuff myself. I just created my own way of communicating it to my team. I created my own language that I taught to my staff and my players because that's the beauty of football. There is no set language, which makes it difficult sometimes. There is no vocabulary. There is no glossary of terms that are identical. But at the same time, the beauty in that is as a coach, you can create your own vocabulary to teach to your team. All right, so Andrew, I appreciate the comment. Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit how you can be simplistic in your vocabulary, but at the same time try and be multiple so you can attack different ways. I know you asked about it on defense as well, but I can only cover one at a time in the video. So that's how we did it on offense. That's how I chose to do it. Again, remember, how I choose to do things is my opinion only. It's not saying that that's how you should do them. It's not saying that it's the best way to do it. What I'm saying is, for me, it made the most sense. That's what we did. Had some success doing it. So again, it's opinion based. What I think is the easiest way for us to do it. All right, I don't sell a system. I don't sell a certain way and say you have to do this, you have to do that. I don't argue on social media, or at least I try not to. Football is football. There's many ways to skin a cat. You do it the best way you possibly can. The best way for you, coaches, players, all right, make it your own, own it, teach it, all right, and be a better teacher and a coach, and then you'll have better students and better learners. But keep it consistent, make it yours, own it, and the kids will buy into it. All right, so I appreciate everything you guys do for Play Fast Football. All right, I was also live on the Relevant app today. I'm going to archive that as soon as I end the stream. It'll get archived in 30 seconds, and it'll be up, ready to go. If you wanted to just listen to it driving somewhere, you could listen to this whole presentation on the Relevant app. It's a free download on your iPhone or any other phones or tablets. It's a free download, Relevant app, RELEVNT. All right, if you are not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you know every time I do a video or I hop on YouTube Live. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down if you like the video or you don't like it. Leave me a comment, because just like Andrew did this week and Jordan Smith last week, and if I see a comment about a video and you want me to do a certain video and I feel like I can do the video justice, I will do the video. So please leave, all right, a comment. If the comment gets through to me, I will reply. Stay safe out there. If you're playing football right now, good luck to you. Keep doing the things you're doing. Keep working hard. If you're getting ready for spring, all right, good luck to you. Get ready to keep pushing the envelope with the kids. Keep working hard. Keep everybody healthy. Stay safe. And then from there, have a great summer, a great off season. We'll get into the season, hopefully back to normal next year. All right, so again, appreciate everything you do for me. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast, and I will catch you guys next time.